We're going to continue with Chapter 2, Part B, Designing Publication, Designing Content Type, and Designing Content Access Structure. These three topics going to discuss in Part B. Okay, what is the characteristic of publication? Okay, what is the purpose? You need to know the purpose of the publication. Decide what you are trying to accomplish with each publication. So what is the content? What is the similarity? What is the group? What is the niche that you want to give for your content? And then what is do you have in the publication? You have a publisher. So who is the publisher? Publisher is people behind the publication that put in the time, effort to ensure the release of the publication. It's a team that is responsible for the ongoing composition, testing, and release of the publication and decide how they are to interact with the CMS team. Okay, when you have designing your CMS before this, when you know the niche of your content, and then you have a team of the content writer. Content writer that does not have, or maybe not have an experience of programming or related of the IT experience. Most of them are the writers. Writers mean someone that have these capabilities to give the idea and write a content for the specific niche that you already decide before, and for your niche or specific content of your website. Okay, there is a module for them, a restricted module, not an administrator. One of the contributor of the content of the CMS. So we call it a content writer. And then an audience. Okay, it's actually you need to relate an audience to the other CMS entities, means the relationship between your content, whether it is going to be attracted to the audience or not. Okay, in publication also we have a set of messages, and then we have an authorship. Okay, what is an authorship? Authorship means who are responsible for the content. Okay, maybe you know when you read something that is written by who and from where. For example, when you go to the web page or a website, so that is the rules of publication. We need to give a credit or no the authorship. So the content, so of course we need to have a content in that publication. So we also consider as a format and how we want to structure the content, and the cycles, how many times it need to be published. Okay, news portal need to be consistently update content almost a few hours. Nowadays, a few hours. When people try to know the latest news. Okay, when you have a website for automotive, for example, what type of car is currently released. So that is the cycles of the publication. Okay, the publication staff. Okay, we have 5. We have, of course, the management staff. Managers are responsible for the business of the publication. People who do the administrative and not doing the content. And then we have the editorial staff. Okay, creating or acquiring content and readying it for publication. Okay, once the content writer upload, the CMS may need to send to the editorial staff for the confirmation of publication, reviewing, okay? And then we have a technical staff. Okay, most of you are going to be a technical staff that manage the system. And then we have a creative staff. Okay, creative staff normally is a graphic designer. Okay, how do you want to organize your content? At what a sense the image going to be put? Okay, whether the banner is proper or not, and the theme and the coloring of each content. So that is the creative stuff. And then we have the architectural stuff, responsible for the structural design of the content system and the content itself. Okay, it's gonna be a clash between a technical staff and architectural staff. Okay, architectural staff is the man behind, okay, the organized form of the CMS. Okay, publication can be good if it meets a particular need. It's a clear state its purpose upfront and all the content within related that purpose serve a particular audience. Okay, it's easily to navigate, but it can be bad if it's not applicable. So that means your niche area, for example, is an automotive industry, but suddenly you upload content of entertainer or artist. If it's related to the car, it's okay, but if it's a gossiping, it's not applicable. So that means it's going to be bad of publication. Not comprehensible. It can be comprehend. I mean that your content is jumbling around, okay, stating vagueness or not clear. So audience cannot understand. The worst part is audience when you left your website. Out of date or wrong, maybe some sort of contribution of the not comprehensible also. It's not accessible. Okay, it's not accessible, cannot access. Okay, that is the bad of the publication. Okay, design content type based on a component. We have a content type that have a model, template, and set of rules about how to create a component of a particular kind. This includes the name of the type, the element that it consists of, and any rules that you want to establish about how to create such component. Component is a small reusable piece of content that you can link together to achieve larger result. For example, maybe e-commerce website. Okay, you can see how the cataloging of the content. Okay, I give you, if you know how to use a Shopee website, if you have an experience buying everything online, okay, you can see how they catalog all of these items that they are selling and how many components involved. Okay, but somehow are going to be lost when you surf to find something. Okay, so this is the example of a component in flat file. This is the example of component in structured file. Okay, using this meta tag, custom meta tag, or XML. Okay, I guess you already learned web services. I guess they teach you how the meaning of this. Okay, component in relational database. Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all of you. We're going to continue to chapter. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, relational database, row and column format. In terms of it looks like a spreadsheet in Excel, but this is how the components will look like. Okay, this is the same thing actually. Okay, this is the catalog ID, for example, or content ID. Okay, this is how it looks in flat file, and this is how it looks in structured file, and this is how it looks in database. Okay, this is how it looks in component. Okay, the same information. Okay, the same information. Okay, most of the data that we upload or save during in CMS, okay, like you post something in Joomla, everything when you upload or you save is going to be stored in the database. So the system itself is going to be automatically generate a structured file like this. Okay, and you can print all of the information in the flat file like this. Okay, and it can be deployed or be organized in object database like this. So basically, all of this form of component, okay, we can manipulate all of this information. It's depend on you, and it's depend on the system that you use, and you can customize this. Okay, designing content type, we have a body element and we have a management element. So the body element content, the content that actually display in publication. For example, we have a title, author, abstract, body, the content of the information. This is all the information that we considered element, body element. And then we have a management element. Management element somehow is going to manage what is going to be published. For example, like the date, okay, how many times, as long as it is organized, what content that going to be published in the CMS. So this is example of a core content type. This is just an example. It doesn't mean every CMS need to have this. Okay, this is the example of financial statement or other formal documents submitted to the US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. This is just an example. Okay, designing content access structure, the ways that you organize any content so that people can more easily to find it. In CMS repository, access structure is how you organize a component. In publication, is actually the navigation method that you provide for users to move to the publication pages or section. So access structure, struktur kemasukan lah in Malay. The content domain means if you have a general CMS, and then what type of a specific area that you want to group. For example, in UTHM website, it's actually the information of the universities, but we have somehow different information inside the UTHM website. It doesn't mean it only have content of the education, but it has link to other purpose. Okay, what is criteria of the good content domain? Differentiates. So you know how the website is to belong what content. Okay, and then clarifies. Your range of content should be immediately understandable to potential content contributors, your audience, and anyone else associated with the project. And confine. Your domain should be too wide or too narrow. This is it's depend on your project or on your CMS designing or CMS development. Okay, you are the one who responsible to know the domain. Okay, whether it is for education, whether it is for insurance, whether it is in financial, whether it is in commerce. So that is the mean of the content domain. Okay, type of access structure. Okay, we have hierarchies, we have a sequence, we have index, we have a full cross-reference, and then we have a full text search. So this is the example of hierarchy. Okay, the example of hierarchy. Okay, this is a parent-child relationship. Okay, this is so this is the parent and this is the child, and then this is the parent for grapes and tomatoes, is a child for a vine fruit. So this is the parent-child relationship, so we call it a hierarchy. Okay, polyhierarchies, this is going to be in the exam. Okay, you can see here. Okay, you can see here. Okay, you can see here. Fishing boat, same thing. Have two parent, pleasure boat and work boat. So this is, we call it a polyhierarchy. You see this fitness GPS watches is belong to handheld GPS and portable fitness electronic. Tomatoes and carrots, it's belong to salad vegetable and vine fruit. And carrots is belong to root vegetable and salad vegetable. So this is the poly hierarchy where a child that has a two parent. Okay, is it okay to implement polyhierarchy? Okay, for me, you can have a polyhierarchy, but maybe this is not the best solution. It depends on your organization of your menu or submenu, your breadcrumb. Okay, polyhierarchy is useful when it obviously logical for selected term. It is indicated by different stakeholder views. Index triggers. It depends on the publication. You look at this music teachers and like trucks. It's going to be a cars or truck. Okay, it might be useful. It might be useful. So the advantage is violate the hierarchical relationship standard. Okay, it's not logic when child have a two parent. Okay, it's become excessive. It's become excessive. You see how the structure, for example, this is your main menu, this is your sub menu, and then your sub of the sub menu that have link to the main menu. So the navigation of your website is going to be very hard to trace. Okay, this going to make the audience lost in the middle of browsing your website. Okay, this is the recommendation. Do not create polyhierarchy to both a parent and a grandparent. Okay, do not. Okay, for example, this one. Okay, camera lens is belong to camera accessories and also is belong to the cameras. So discard this. Okay, this is just the recommendation. So the second recommendation, this is just example. Okay, when it's violating hierarchical relationship standard, avoid overuse in polyhierarchies. For example, accessories as a narrow term to a product category, service as a narrow term to product categories as well. So these two things should be discarded. Okay, this one, okay, this one, this investment loan. Okay, this investment loan. This is what you need to do is you specify the loan itself. For example, you put it inside the personal loan, it is the individual investment loan. And then for business loan, for business investment loan. So these two things is different. So this one, so how we want to do this? All right, we just replace this as a pleasure fishing boat. This is for work fishing boat. That is the solution, and it's going to be in the exam. Okay, filter versus facet. Okay, please read this. Filter is anything that analyzes a set of content and excludes some item. Faceted navigation composed of multiple filters that comprehensively describe a set of content. Okay, this is the notion or the group different between filters and facet. Okay, facets are for narrowing category set that are similar and support the same kind of attribute. Okay, let me see example. It's very easy to do this. Okay, this is an example of a facet. Okay, this is example of breadcrumb. Okay, facet. The drop-down list and a selection box are normally used for facet. Okay, please remember back your course on web development. So breadcrumb is a top navigation. Okay, reveal the user location in website or web application. Location base breadcrumb, this one. Okay, same thing. This is attribute based breadcrumb. So what is the difference? This inside the computer hardware, and what inside the computer hardware is only want to use for searching for computer cases. So this is this type of the breadcrumb, we call it an attribute based breadcrumb. And like this one, it's a location based breadcrumb. Okay, most of the website today have this breadcrumb and facet. For Android or mobile, most of the navigation is using facet. So CMS normally change this automatically based on the platform that you use. So when we call it a responsive design, where it is work independently based on the platform that you use. Okay, if you can see what you see in website when you are browsing using desktop, it's going to be different when you are using Android. Okay, the menu normally for desktop is in the top breadcrumb, but suddenly when you are browsing using a mobile or handphone, the navigation is going to be facet in drop down list. Okay, breadcrumb navigation. Okay, why use breadcrumb navigation? Great usability, easy to backtrack, eliminate additional click, show users hierarchy. This is the advantage of using a breadcrumb. It is for me is easy to navigate. Okay, that's all for part B. Okay, we're going to continue part C later on.